Nikon just released the 28 to 135 millimeter power zoom lens last week. And for those who have been wondering what was going on with the whole Nikon acquires Red Digital Cinema, well, they've been working very hard behind the scenes over the past year. Well, actually, I cannot say that for sure, but I imagine they were working very hard because they not only released a new lens, but they also released a Red Komodo camera that has a Z mount on it, being able to utilize the Nikkor Z lenses natively on the Red Digital Cinema cameras. It's honestly really exciting knowing that Nikon has just finished that roadmap that they first released with the Z mount system. And then now that they're starting to not just dip their feet into cinematography, they literally bought Red Digital Cinema. And this is the very beginning of what we're about to see unfold right before our eyes. And it's really been amazing to see over the last couple of years, the transformation that Nikon has really done with itself. You know, you go to their YouTube channel and they have, it's not just straight photography anymore. They've got some big heavy hitters for videography, lens wise, camera. You've got a community, honestly, for Nikon. I feel like they've been able to capture some of those users back that really needed a lot of videography type features and content creator type features and stuff like that. So Nikon's done a really good job over the last couple of years, zeroing in on and focusing on content creators and videographers and not just photographers. So
as the trusted expert behind the lens, you are in the business of documenting life. Every day brings a new environment, a new client, a new challenge to solve. And no matter the day, you do it all. So you need gear that can keep up. That's why we packed your most used focal lengths into a single high-quality power zoom lens. It's versatile, lightweight, enhanced with technology to help you work smarter and faster. The Nikkor Z 28 to 135 millimeter power zoom, a new all-in-one pro video lens from Nikon. Experience the power of zoom.
again, I'm not the market for this lens. I'm just watching it as as a fan, really. You know, it's great. The very first scene here, we're looking at a wedding, right? We're looking at actually not a wedding. We're looking at a proposal. So we've got a proposal going on. We've got the camera here with the lens on a gimbal and the videographer slowly walking towards the couple being proposed to. So let's go ahead and check out this movement. Nice. Okay, so nice movement. We're looking at wedding. So you can already see like who Nikon is targeting here. You know, professional photographers, wedding industry, engagement, proposal right off the bat.
Is the trusted
There's the ring. It's really sharp and then nice compression here in the background. Nice and soft. It is an f4 lens,
expert behind
but still very versatile. Look how sharp that is. I mean, I don't know how it looks for you, but I'm watching this on a 4K monitor and that looks so crispy. All right. And we can see here on this gimbal, the way that they've mounted this lens, they're using the collar there, mounting on the gimbal. You are in the business of documenting life. So now we've got next a whole full-on production going on here. We've got this slide that the videographer is manipulating manually.
Every day brings a new
and I like the subtle yellow going on throughout the whole video as well. It's pretty nice. Look at that. I just, you know, paying attention to details here. We've got one angle coming down towards the subject, and then we've got the second angle in the background. We've got the subject right here at that intersection of those two lines.
environment, a new client, a new challenge to solve.
Wow, look how clear this is. This is so crispy. If I screenshotted this, I could probably blow this text up and read it. Like this shirt, his beard stubble, it is so sharp.
And no matter the day.
All right, so this shot, really nice. And
so
let me rewind here because we're looking, I'm kind of paying attention to the bokeh back here. And so over the last couple of months, I don't know, 6 months or so, we've seen the Plena come out. We've seen the 85 1.2. We've seen the 35 1.2. And we've been, you know, diving into all this talk about bokeh and just the beautiful types of bokeh, you know, where like, I believe like the 85 1.2, the Plena, it's like really rounded, you know, and there's like different types of bokeh, right? Like the teardrops or like the eyes or I don't know, whatever shapes. So I was just kind of paying attention to like what's going on here in the background with the ocean. And you can see it's really nice, especially for f4. I think this lens is like doing a really nice job just rendering all that wonderful light in the background and capturing all that glittering ocean while keeping this guy, the subject here, in really sharp focus.
You do it.
I can only imagine how cold it must be. I'm imagining that this shot was taken on the East Coast because this guy's wearing, he's wearing a full-on wetsuit. It could be the Pacific. It could be the Pacific. If we're thinking Pacific, this would be closer to sunset. If it was East Coast, then this would be kind of like noonish time right after the sun rose. But I've never experienced the sunrise on the East Coast, to be honest, like at the beach. Maybe that's something I got to do in the future. All right. So we got this lady over here. Really, really cool beanie. I've actually got one of these really nice yellow ones from a different brand, I'm sure. But so she's throwing on the camera already mounted on the plate for the tripod.
So you need gear that
again, attached with the collar.
can keep up.
There we go. So really fast. So they're really trying to show like you can haul around this rig, this camera rig, and it's light enough and portable enough that you can just, you know, swap it right on really quickly and handle it with two hands and just screw it in and you're good to go.
That's why.
Look at that. And there we go. And they talk about, you know, we packed all of your favorite focal lengths into this lens. So the 28 to 135, which makes this lens really, really cool, I think. Again, I'm not 100% convinced that this is something that should be in my equipment cabinet, you know, that I need to have. If I was a videographer, it'd be a lot more tantalizing to me since I'm still more of a prime shooter. So, but I don't know, really, really cool. I think it's awesome. I also really like this gold ring. I like that they're kind of adding this pop of color now, and it's classy. It really is classy to look at. It, you know, when you speaking of, you know, seeing colleagues at different events, different weddings, can you imagine like rolling up to an event and just busting out this super nice cinema lens with this gold ring around it? Like definitely will catch some attention and stuff. So it is cool to see them throwing some pop of color on these lenses to kind of differentiate their cinema. This one, obviously much more bigger luggage, can handle a lot more. Then we've got a smaller bag, could just fit the hood, the camera. It's got some sand on there to kind of show you that, hey, like, you know, this is a good weather sealed, rugged lens. There we go. This one nice and clean. I like this bag here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 batteries. Shoo! All right, we got 7 batteries. I wonder if these are Z63s. That's a Z8. That's a Z63. That's a Z9. Wow, what a bag here. I'll take that one.
A single high
quality powered lens.
Or zoom lens.
So we've got this T and this W here, I'm guessing to allow the user to smoothly zoom in and out with this rather than using your hand.
Power zoom lens.
I like it.
It's versatile,
Interesting.
lightweight,
Versatile, lightweight.
enhanced with technology to help you work smarter and faster. The Nikkor Z 28 to 135 millimeter power zoom. A new
That is crispy. That looks so nice.
all-in-one pro video lens.
I like this shot where they all look up at the same time. Just kind of checking out their gear. What do they all got going on here?
From Nikon. Experience the power of zoom.
Experience the power of zoom. Let's go ahead and look at the behind the scenes video with Christopher M. Nichols. So cool. I gotta say, let me stop you here. It's so cool to see all this content being shot in Japan. Just saying.
Nikon power zoom. When I looked at the specifications, one thing I thought was like this would sit really well within like filming sports and action. And dancing was a really good choice to me. Mimi, when she dances, has a really interesting flow. I wanted to create something that showcased her flow in a really smooth and kinetic fashion.
Chris, take one.
This is actually my first time being in front of the camera, so it's actually really interesting to get a feel for what I've been doing to people for all these years.
Just so that you know, we totally watched this out of order. We should have watched his video and then this, but I guess we're going backwards. So maybe we can just hear what he has to say about his video and then we'll all watch it together after this.
My name is Christopher. I'm a filmmaker based between Tokyo and London, working primarily in documentary film. I got into filmmaking just through a general love of film. I just love stories. I love telling stories. I love hearing stories. And documentaries are a really accessible way to explore people's lives and the interesting stories that they have to tell. Usually when I'm shooting, if it's documentary...
Dude, these zooms are sick. Look at this thing.
Places that are important and special to them. If you come into someone's house with 3 cameras and a lighting guy and a sound guy and all these different things, people can become just completely thrown and it can really change their willingness to open up to you. When Nikon came to me and kind of challenged me to make a documentary using just one lens, at first I thought that would be...
I love that. I love that. So cool. You know what I mean? To be like, hey, we're coming out with this new piece of equipment. Do you want to take on a challenge? We want to see you use this lens and create a little documentary video using this lens and then tell us what you think. I like that approach. I like that real, organic, natural approach.
Huge limitation, but then I looked at the specs. I saw, you know, we have 28 to 135, and then with some features of the camera as well, you can actually get all the way to 270. So I did have a lot of focal length to play with within there, and then it's about kind of looking at the specifications.
Dude, that was smooth. I mean, every zooming shot that were being shown, it's so smooth. And look at this, it's like handheld too. All of these zooms are like handheld.
Some features of the camera as well, you can actually get all the way to 270. So I did have a lot of focal length to play with within there, and then it was about kind of looking at the specifications and thinking, how can I use those specifications to really create something interesting, something cool, something dynamic. So what we wanted to do was find a subject who really kind of had a lot of dynamism and movement to what they do. I saw Mimi dancing at a competition, and yeah, she's got such a great flow, such a great movement, really positive energy to the way that she moves and the way that she dances. Aside from being an incredible dancer, she's just such a positive person. It was really beautiful to see that she's, you know, not just this sick dancer, she's a mother as well.
No, that's so great.
Focal range of the lens is really great. You got a lot of flexibility, which in the documentary realm, you know, is really handy to have. There were situations where we filmed in a dance studio. I had to hide at the back of the room. There's mirrors everywhere, and I was able to really like float around in the room. The torque on the motorized zoom wheel actually kind of recognizes when you turn it faster and when you turn it slower, and it keeps a smoothness to it. The power zoom was really fun to play with. I really enjoyed. We did some shots from on a roof. Mimi's down near a railway track, and we just did this like really smooth push.
That is sick.
And you can
I love that.
menus, and then it's just a push of a button, and it clean, sustained push in. Put the camera on the gimbal, and we could use the remote grip to operate the power zoom as I was following Mimi, and so we could create a dolly zoom effect.
Wow.
Usually, you'd need a big crew, you'd need equipment, you'd need a dolly, a focus puller, all these things. But we were able to just go into these locations and grab these shots. And we're in these tunnels doing these dolly.
Can we, sorry, let's just appreciate that one more time. Let's go ahead and check that out. This is so sick.
Operate the power zoom as I was following Mimi, and so we could create a dolly zoom effect. Usually you'd need a big crew.
That is so dope, dude.
Puller, all these things. But we were able to just go into these locations and grab these shots. And we're in these tunnels doing these dolly zooms. We're up on roofs. We're, you know, running around, and it was just a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me of my early days of filmmaking when it's just me and my mates running around with cameras and
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
playing around.
I mean, to like have a product to like make you feel that, you know, that's exactly like what my experience was with the Z50. When I first got the Z50 and I got to play around with it before we gave it away on stream, and I did some vlogging stuff with it, and it was just so much fun to use. And this was like, this is when I had barely any mirrorless camera experience, and I was coming out of the D4S. I was still shooting weddings with the D4S, and Nikon sent the Z50, and I remember playing with it outside with my kids and shooting and doing videos, and it's like, man, it's like I pick up a camera for the first time again and just like start having fun with it. So that is really cool to hear from, you know, this guy who, as a videographer, being young, going around with his mates, making videos, just grabbing a camera and going. It's cool to have a product that can like bring you back to that innocence in artistry. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of crazy because, you know, as professionals and, you know, the general mind think is that the tools don't matter, you know, that like, you know, and there is truth to that, but also the tools matter. You know, the tools don't matter, but the tools matter. And it's cool to see products come out that could really spark that inspiration and bring you back to that innocence of artistry, as we said before, to make you have fun and to enjoy your time with what you do. The last thing you want to do, man, is to get yourself into a position where you're trying to create something, photograph something, videograph, you know, capture something on video, and your tool malfunctions, or it's frustrating to use, or doesn't work properly, or it fails on you. You know, so the tool matters, but the tool also matters.
One of the problems usually when using a zoom lens on a gimbal is the center of gravity shift as you change focal lengths. But with this lens, they've designed it in a way that I think it only shifts something like 2 millimeters. So actually we were able to go from 28 all the way through to 135 while on the gimbal without having to worry about the balance of that gimbal being thrown off.
Wow.
With certain bodies, they have an 8K sensor. Utilize a feature called high-res zoom. If you set it to 4K, instead of 28 to 135, what you can actually get is 28 all the way through to 270 in one smooth motion. There's no sudden jump when it...
That's so sick. That is a dope shot. Let's go ahead and look at that one again. Dude, I can't wait to watch this video now. What about... I can't wait to watch this video.
70 in one smooth motion. There's no sudden jump when the digital zoom takes...
Sorry, small little detail, but look how small this little porch is.
135, what you can actually get is 28.
This balcony, watch.
270.
Hold on. Look how small this is. Look how small that is.
In one smooth...
That's crazy. I mean, I would take what I can get, you know. It's kind of a cool spot to have your little balcony to get out there on the roof and just look over the city or town that you're in, but sick.
Smooth motion. There's no sudden jump when the digital zoom takes over. That gives you quite an insane amount of focal length to play with. We got some really cool shots of Mimi up in this really high walkway system, and we were quite far away, and we like just pushed all the way through these houses and these telephone poles.
Oh, that's so sick. I love that.
I really like the look of the glass on this lens. I think the focal roll-off looked really beautiful. It didn't feel too sharp or digital. It felt quite creamy. It felt quite organic. It had a really nice look to it. To have 28-135 on a full-frame lens with a power zoom is actually quite unique. I think it's really great that companies like Nikon are creating tools that open up filmmaking to people that aren't necessarily working with the biggest budgets. I think with that in mind, this lens would be really suited to solo filmmakers, people that shoot events, particularly sports or action, in situations where you're not necessarily in control of your environment and you need a good focal range and a beautiful image.
That's dope. That is a great behind the scenes video, by the way, Nikon. Well done. And to just hear from Christopher Nichols that this lens, was able to spark that joy and inspiration. Really, really cool to hear. And then again, for me as a photographer, kind of looking at the capabilities of this lenses, I know that I was super impressed by those zooms and the high res zoom. If I was a videographer, I wonder what my reaction would be. But as a photographer, I'm like, that's a really, really cool lens. That must be very fun to use. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and we're gonna watch the actual video now. And of course, it's 3 minutes, 41 seconds, not bad. We are going to watch the short documentary Flow by Christopher Nichols, who shot it exclusively with the 28-135mm f4 PZ lens in conjunction with the Z9. So let's go ahead and check this out.
Tokyo feels alive. It has a rhythm. Through rhythm, I find my flow. I've been breaking for 20 years. My first mentor showed me some power moves and he was throwing flips and flares. It looks sick. Now I don't really do power moves. I feel more fun to create my own style. I break kind of slower than the other B-boys and B-girls. Being offbeat helps me to focus on myself. Music has like a different layers, so I try to find the beat that suits my tempo. Finding my tempo lets me embrace my individuality. I try.
Dude, this video is so sick already. I'm sorry to like interrupt 1 minute in, but there's just so many shots already that like, they're so cool. And then the way that Christopher explained the way that he achieved some of them, from up on the rooftops or his dolly zooms and things like that. It's just really cool to see it now in practice. 1 minute in. And I've got to say also, I love the wardrobe. Love the editing style. Love the color palette in this video as well. Again, I will echo my comment that I left on the other video. Yo, what up, JBL? Is that Nikon chose the right person to do this little challenge documentary thing. So really awesome.
Finding my tempo lets me embrace my individuality. I try not to think too much. I'm just being myself. In my routines, I have a lot of like different characters. Sometimes I want to try to be like an animal or like swan.
Dude, what a sick shot this is. I love this. Let's appreciate this one more time.
To be like an animal or like swan or a monkey or cat. My routines are a way to express my personality. I get to meet a lot of cool dancers from all over the world. I think dancing crosses borders without needing words. I'm always like hungry to touch different styles. When I dance with people from different backgrounds, we just feel as one.
Wow.
I love
That
sharing
was so
culture
sick.
experience.
Dang, that shot's
Being a
beautiful.
mother changed my whole life. My son, Jim, he's 2 years old and he's the cutest boy. Being a mother teaches me every day. Jim likes to dance. I never really taught him how to dance, but he just naturally like learned.
I also like too, in this video, there are these transition points here, like this one right here. And then it has that chime. So it's like the intro, the chime, and then it goes into her finding her style and individuality. And then it has like this massive ramp up and climax to just how sick her moves are. And then another chime. And then it switches now to her being a mother and her son. I like those transitions.
And he's the cutest boy. Being a mother teaches me every day. Jin likes to dance. I never really taught him how to dance, but he just naturally like learned from me and dad. I think he wants to be a dancer one day. Before my son was born, I sometimes felt lost. I often struggled to express who I really was. So I used to feel depression easily, but I think I found life's tempo. I found a way I can convert my negativity to positivity through dancing, through rhythm. I found my flow. My name is Memes. My big girl name is Memes.
Dude, what a sick little documentary. It covered so much in here about this person that we meet. And it's not just about dancing, but life and her son, finding herself, her identity, having something to dance for, to live for, converting that negativity to positivity. Super, super sick. And man, guess what, guys? That was all, this was all shot on one lens. Can you believe that? All on one lens. That is quite impressive. As the video was going through, I was trying to imagine what it would have been like for Christopher walking on the streets during certain shots and not having to worry about having different crew members along with you, different camera angles, whatever. Like, he's just got this one camera body using his gimbal or whatever with this lens and being able to handle everything that he needs. I thought it was a great way that Nikon was able to demonstrate the capabilities and power of this lens.